What is going on, guys? Welcome to this episode of Home Built Workshop. Today we're going to talk napkins. Well, at least napkin holders. Growing up, we had one of these simple napkin holders. Today we're going to recreate that out of some leftovers that we found around the shop. Stick around, check it out. So quick show of hands if you've ever found yourself in this kind of a situation. Maybe you've just finished up kind of a larger woodworking project and now you are left with some scraps that you kind of want to just get rid of, but maybe they're just big enough to where you don't really want to throw them away. You keep thinking to yourself, there's got to be some sort of a smaller project that you can make to use up some of these scraps. You ever been in that boat? That is exactly the situation that I am in right now. I've got a few nice pieces of elm here that I really just don't want to throw away. I think I've got a perfect little project we can knock out in just no time at all. It's going to use up some of these smaller bits. So this whole project is going to consist of two pieces. These will get glued together in a small panel to make the base. This piece is going to get cut down to become the top. We're going to drill some holes, install some dowels. You're going to need a couple of dowels. I just had these laying around. This piece, I don't know if I'm going to need that yet, but it's an extra scrap that I didn't want to throw away. Let's jump right in. First, I'm going to cut all the pieces for the base down to a rough length. I'm going to leave them a little bit long for now. We'll trim them up later. Then I'll cut down the piece that'll make up the top. And now I'll just glue up the pieces that'll make up the base. Of course, if you have a piece wide enough, you wouldn't have to do this step. I just don't have a piece wide enough, so I had to make one. If you guys are interested in the sizes that I used for this project, I'm going to cover that a little bit more at the end of the video, so make sure you stick around. After the glue's dried and a little bit of quick cleanup, I'm going to sand this little piece down so that the glue joints are nice and flush. And now at the table saw, I'll square up the ends and cut this piece to final length. And just to dress this piece up a little bit, I'll use a round over bit just to put a small profile around the outside edges. Now I need to lay out the hole locations where I'm going to drill the holes for the dowels. To do this, I'm going to first locate the center of the piece by connecting the diagonals. And then I'll use a square to draw a line straight through that center point. This will create the center line that I'll base all my measurements off of. Now using a center finding ruler, I'm just going to measure 3 1/8 inches from either side of the center point. Then I'm going to add 1/4 inch to each side to make up for half the diameter of the dowels. I'm using 1/2 inch dowels. That's where I get the 1/4 inch from. I'll just do a quick double check to make sure everything looks like it's going to fit. Then we'll center punch and drill the holes for the dowels. The holes in the base don't go all the way through the piece. I only drilled them about 2/3 of the way through. But the holes in the top piece need to go all the way through. Don't forget to use a backer board when drilling the through holes. It'll help prevent tear out. And now for the highlight of the show. We'll just skip ahead past this part, but I sanded it. Now it's time to glue in the dowels. We don't need a whole lot of glue. If you use too much, you're going to get a lot of squeeze out, and we don't really want to have to clean all that up. To make sure everything stays in line, I'm just going to slip this top piece on just a little bit. I'm not going to slide it down all the way because right now these holes are drilled the same size as the dowel, so it's really a snug fit. I'm going to take a little bit of sandpaper once this is dry and we'll make those holes a little bit larger. Now there's quite a few ways you could enlarge these holes. One could be just a rolled up piece of sandpaper. Maybe you could even drill it to the next bigger size if you happen to have an incremental set of drill bits. Or what I'm gonna do, the old dowel with a piece of sticky back sandpaper wrapped around there. We can just put this in the drill press go to town.
This worked really well, but for some reason, this dowel was super wobbly and kept coming loose in the chuck. Probably because it's made out of wood and the chuck can't really grasp it like it can a metal drill bit.
That's the fit you're looking for. You want it to be able to freely go all the way down. That way when you have napkins loaded in here, the weight of this will hold it down. And since this project is really about kind of using up some leftovers around the shop, kind of like that one weekly meal when you have like 20 different leftover containers in the fridge and you got to clean it all out and eat it all up before it goes bad. So you heat up like 20 different things and you got like a little scoop of everything on your plate, and it's really kind of random and strange, but I like it. It's kind of like that. We are going to use some leftover finish as well. This is a mixture of polyurethane, mineral spirits, and boiled linseed oil. It's a really easy to make finish. Works really well, easy to apply. I've got a whole separate video if you want to see how I make this, link down below in the video description. After applying 2 coats of that finish and letting it dry, there's only one thing left to do. Grab a stack of napkins, set it in there, drop on the top, and we are ready. The weight of this keeps them from blowing around. Great for like picnic tables, outdoor events, and really growing up we had one of these on our table all the time. There's a lot of different things you could do for this for customization. The one we had growing up had some sort of flowers or something decorative painted on here. You could laser engrave something, you could wood burn something in here, carve something in here, whatever you want to do. Use some different contrasting woods. Like I said, there's a ton of different ways. It's just a really simple project just to use up a few scraps. Just use what you have on hand. It's going to work out awesome. You're going to find it super handy. And just a recap on the dimensions. I have mine at about 8 3/4 wide. Honestly, I think it could probably be at least another 1/2 inch wider unless you use smaller dowels. The dowels I used were 1/2 inch dowels, mainly just because that's what I had on hand that sort of matched this wood. For the depth, I'm at 7.5 inches. For the top, I've cut it to 3 inches wide by about 8 inches long. Now you could make the size of it about any size you'd like. I left the distance in between the dowels at 6 1/4 inches. I measured the napkins to be about 6 inches square, so I left just 1/4 inch. Seems to be perfect because they never really seem to be jogged up nice and smooth. So guys, I hope you found this project fun and helpful. Really make it your own. The sky's the limit. This really is kind of just the base model. You can take it as far as you want with customization, personalization, colors, shapes, whatever. You don't have to make it square, any of that sort of thing. Have fun with it. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time.